Good afternoon class. Good afternoon Kritika. Yeah, welcome back. So we will be dealing with today's current affairs from paper Hindu. Yeah, so yesterday we were discussing that there was huge earthquake in Turkey and Syria and the death count has increased to 12,000 and the speculated death count was around 20,000. So we will be knowing the count in soon away. So that was the level of affected issues with Turkey and Syria regarding earthquake. Coming to the next article, which is of important. So an appeal to mark Feb 14th as Cow Hug Day. So they wantedly asked it as an appeal so that they will have a cow hug day on Feb 14th on Valentine's Day. So most of the people will be celebrating Feb 14th as a Valentine's Day. So in regard to that, what this particular Committee of Animal Welfare Board of India, they wanted to name it as Cow Hug Day so that people will enhance and people will celebrate the emotional richness of the cow. Okay, so it is being it is portrayed as a respectable animal. So the way if we hug it, it will be a part of your emotional, see, hugging cows will bring emotional richness and increase happiness. So that is what they thought. So in par with Valentine's Day, they wanted it to be a cow hug day. So that is what about this article. Who has appealed for it? Animal Welfare Board of India. So that is about this today. I mean, one of the important articles. Next article, let's see. All these are local news. Yes. This is important as part of your SNT. So key trials for Gaganyaan conducted. So for Gaganyaan, which is what? Your travel or space travel for humans. So this is a particular spacecraft developed by ISRO for the first time. So along with the Indian Navy, so with the collaboration with Indian Navy, ISRO has developed this particular Gaganyaan, which was delayed recently. It should have gone by 2022 only, but it is not going to happen by 2023 or 2022. It should have been flew into the outer space, but it was delayed project. But key trials have been happened. That means how to accustom what can be the environment in space if humans are going into it. For that, key trials has happened. So has conducted an important trial for the Gaganyaan human flight mission, human space flight mission. So that is about your Gaganyaan. The trials were part of preparation for crew module recovery operations for the Gaganyaan mission. So what is this trials about? It is about crew module recovery operations. Okay, for that they have been trained for these particular people who are going to travel into Gaganyaan and will be carried out in Indian waters with the participation of Indian government agencies. The overall recovery will be led by Indian Navy. So to showcase or to have the environment of space, they are collaborating with Navy to have trials in waters. So that you need to understand. Okay. So operation procedures, recovery procedures, how to fix any infrastructure for everything, they are being trained to. Okay. That is about this particular article. Yes. Collegium regis proposals for HCs. Vinod Chandran named for Patna High Court. So what is this particular article about? Collegium regis in the sense change of plans or replacing the existing plan. So what they have done basically, this particular person Vinod Chandran was actually nominated to be a justice for Guwahati High Court, whereas now after the change in decision of collegium, he has been moved to Patna High Court. That is what this article says. And why they have taken such decision? Because they have understood that he is very experienced and his presence is very much required in Patna High Court than Guwahati. So that is this article. So yeah, just Supreme Court Collegium recalled its earlier recommendation to appoint Kerala High Court Judge Justice K. Vinod Chandra as Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court and proposed his appointment as Chief Justice of Patna High Court. So initially they have announced that he will be going to Guwahati, which is in your Assam Northeast. So he was announced that he will be the Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court, but later on when the appointment order was issued, then he was allocated with Patna High Court. So what Mr. Chandrachud or present Chief Justice of India has told is that this particular person, Vinod Chandran, having regard to the above circumstances, the collegium resolves his earlier recommendation, it recalled and appointed him for Patna High Court, and to be appointed as Chief Justice of High Court in Patna, he will be suitable for the same. So because by keeping in mind the experience he had, that is what they have given as the reason. Okay, that is what they have given as reason. See, the collegium started, I'll show you the reason. Fine. So he was being appointed since there was a lot of vacancies and his experience mattered a lot for his presence in Patna than Guwahati. That is what they told. Okay. Next. Fine. Next. So as we were discussing about Turkey and Syria, and I have also told in yesterday's news that India has sent aid to Turkey and Syria for the disaster management. Okay. So in regarding that, what we have further opted. So what is the technologies that we have sent to Turkey and Syria for disaster management? That is important. So NDRF said to deploy TM, that means Tamil Nadu's firm's drones in Turkey. So surveillance drones they are going to use to check for the availability of people, because around, see, there are so many fatalities, there are so many people who are affected and yet to be known. So that is the issue. So for that, identification via humans is far more difficult than identification through drones. So what they have asked, they are taking a technological backup by using this particular drones. And what is the name of the drones that they have opted for is important, and who has given. So NDRF basically he has reached or has requested Chennai headquartered Garuda Aerospace to provide DGC approved drones for disaster management operations. So for this particular disaster management operations, they have opted this particular drone. And what is the drone name? Droni. Droni is the drone name. Can be asked for your prelims. So what is Droni? It is also a drone. Okay. Surveillance drone which is being used to identify human presence, especially in case of disasters. Okay. So that is about this particular article. Next. So another article, India developing border connectivity due to China concerns. Mr. Jaishankar, our external Minister of External Affairs, has told that India is obviously working on global infrastructure, especially in and around the neighboring states of India, so that it will be having a protection from China's growing aggression on territorial achievement. So that is what Mr. Jaishankar has told. So what is this article about? He has told that India's connectivity projects with Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal and Myanmar, all are our bordering countries, so have been accelerated due to obvious concerns from the frontier of China, which says, who says? Our External Minister, External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar. He cited a new number of infrastructure projects that is been under or along line of actual control and border connectivity efforts with friendly neighbors, including all nations which share land borders with India except Pakistan. So our currently infrastructure facilities that we are trying to develop in all areas except our land border near Pakistan. So we have focused on rapid development of infrastructure through the northern borders with China for obvious strategic reasons. So if we are not going to put forward on our infrastructure facilities within the country and bordering countries, then some or the other way, like China, other country might also come into our sovereign land and says that yes, this is also our land. So that is the obvious reason where we have opted for infrastructural build-up in and around India. So yeah, that is about this particular article. So they have termed, one more term that is important is that on Monday, Congress MP Thanish Tiwari have given adjournment notice which was subsequently rejected to discuss about he called China's land grab, including the recent official report for a security conference on the loss of access to 26 of 65 patrolling units in LAC. So, recently there was an article which showcased that in LAC, that means near the land of actual control where China is currently occupying our own Kashmir area, the northern area. So, what happened was around 26 out of 65 patrolling points in LAC were being occupied by China. So, that was the thing. So, what they have asked, some person in Congress has asked that let us discuss about China's land grab. So, that particular term is important, which you can add into your answers, that is why I have told that. Rest all nothing is much important as part of this particular article, but what is the infrastructure project that is being undertaken in area of Ladakh? So, work began last month strategically important 135 km long Chushul, Dumti, Fushke and Demshok road in Ladakh region. Basically, in Ladakh region they have built a 135 km road for connectivity. Obviously, against or protecting our country from other countries of land grab by China especially. Okay, next. Okay, next. So, political news is huge today. So, that news I have skipped. Rest all the news, whatever is important, that I have taken. So, there was some kind of issue with quick surface to air missile operation. So, what DRDO has mentioned as part of this particular article. So, there was some kind of issue on our indigenous reaction, quick reaction surface to air missile, which is QRSAM, and being developed by defense. Obviously, this particular missions are being manufactured by DRDO is set to be tested again in April with the changes of suggested by the army. So, whatever the army has told that these are the glitches that we are finding in QRSAM. So, based on their input, they are going to test it again, retest, and if there is any kind of issue that they have identified, they will be modifying it. So, the mission reliability has to be improved and some glitches have to be fixed. DRDO is already working on it. So, that is what they have given the open statement on the current issues with QRSAM and they are trying to fix the glitches. Next article. Arogya Setu app contact tracing data deleted, says IT Ministry. So, who is IT Ministry? MIghty, Ministry of, what is this? Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which is MIghty. So, that particular ministry has told that Arogya Setu app. So, basically, especially during this particular pandemic time, we used to fill our data comprising from which they will be asking certain questions where they can track on your previous travel data, where you being contacted to some other people who is having COVID and your phone number. So, all these traces of your or tracking of your data has been happening through this Arogya Setu app. When I was filling this app, I felt also like this is completely affecting my data privacy, because it takes the access of my location. It can access where am I, to which places I have gone, and what can be the possible, what can be possible implications for my actions or for my traveling situation. So, all these are completely, my data is being compromised basically. So, after understanding about that, IT Ministry have cleared all the data. So, that you need to understand. So, let us go to the article. Contact tracing data from COVID-19 pandemic collected by Arogya Setu app has been detected from the government databases. So, Ministry of MIghty has told in a written response to the Parliament. So, what he has told that it has been deleted. All this contact tracing data, the location tracing data, whatever the data that is going to be compromising on a person's identity or on a person's data basically. So, those data has been deleted. So, in accordance with the provisions of Arogya Setu Data Access and Knowledge Sharing Protocol, the contacting feature of the contact tracing feature of Arogya Setu mobile application has been discontinued and contact tracing data collected through so far has been deleted. So, contact tracing, your contact being traced. So, your data has been compromised, your number has been compromised. So, all those things which has collected so far, all those data will be deleted, and from now those data which will ask for contact tracing, that particular feature of Arogya Setu app has been deleted. That you need to understand. Next, that's entirely about this particular article, nothing more than that. And so you need to understand that all these both articles are related to our data privacy, data security. So 6,775 URLs have been blocked in 2022, panel met 53 times. So what is this article about? A previous highest 9,849 URLs. So URL in the sense, you will have certain kinds of links to access. Suppose every website have an URL, right? Every particular, suppose I am going live in this class, so it has an URL. I can share that particular URL. So such kinds of URLs which is affecting our country's security. So in such cases, 9,849 websites or URLs have been banned basically. So when the government blocked several posts on social media that were critical for the handling of pandemic in 2021, there are 6,096 block orders. So during COVID-19 back then, what happened was there was a lot of fake information, false news that is being spread all over the social media, saying different speculations. So if you go on in sunlight, your COVID will not come. So on, there are several baseless situations or baseless comments that has been mentioned in social media. So based on that, 6,096 have been accounts or URLs have been blocked so far. So as part of that, a committee to consider blocking requests under information technology. So this particular committee is under what? Under information technology. So basically they are under information technology, and they have blocked the URLs. See the count of these URLs based on 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. So far 9,849 is the highest, of which year? 18, 19, 20. So on 2020 it was, is it 2020? Just a moment. 22, 21, 2020. Yes. So on 2020 it was during COVID time only. Around 9,800 and some 9,849 URLs were being blocked. By whom? By Ministry of IT through a particular organized committee. Okay. So in 2020 the government blocked several posts of social media that were crucial in handling the pandemic and advised social media platforms to curb posts that called the Delta variant of SARS-CoV-2 virus in Indian one. So there were certain speculations that when Delta virus has been started, despite that origination is not from India, there were certain kinds of posts stating that it was originated from India. Which virus? This particular variant of SARS-CoV-2, which is Delta virus. Basically Delta variant has been detected in India. It has been originated in India. Such kind of posts are all blocked. And after the year 2022 represents the highest number of blocking issued due to internet providers and social media platforms. So after that again in 2022 you have seen the highest, which is around 6,775 URLs have been blocked. Not only URLs, if you can see, yesterday also around, not in yesterday, day before yesterday's paper, I have also told that nearly 230 apps, all these betting apps have been banned. And there is one article stating related to that. So betting apps, loan giving apps were being banned, and this particular apps LazyPay, Kisht, which are actually approvable and which can be used as a reliable source of loan taking apps, they were also being banned by mistake. So what is the statement? An emergency blocking of the lending apps LazyPay, Kisht may have been done advertently, a government official said. So it was done by mistake. It might be a part of mistake, so that they banned these two apps also. So the websites for LazyPay and Kisht were blocked following the emergency order issued by MIT targeting over 200 gambling and lending apps. So just now I was telling you, there are around 200, basically around 230, I think around 232 apps were being apps or URLs or games websites, whatever are related to gambling and any kind of lending apps were being blocked. And LazyPay and Kisht, despite being a reliable sources, they are also being banned. So government officials stated that it might be by mistake. Okay. So yeah. Next. So here speaks about climate change, climate change. So what is this article about? Shimla losing its white winter, just 1 day of snowfall this year so far. So we can see that globally there is a lot of impact of climatic energy, which showcases especially in this particular areas where if there is a requirement of snowfall or where there is an expectation of snowfall, snowfall is not going to occur, and sometimes there is a huge snowfall, huge rain, and later on there is no rain when there is expected. So the cycle of this particular, so basically the water cycle has been changed. So that basically proves the evolution or the, what we can say, adverse conditions of climatic change, that you need to understand. Okay. So in this particular article what it says is that Shimla so far, so this is February, right, already winter has started. So Shimla has received only 6 centimeters of rainfall so far in this winter. The season extends from November to March. So from November to March is your winter season, during which there will be the people of Shimla will be expecting snow rainfall. But what happened? Only 6 centimeters of rainfall has been occurred. There has been the second lowest rainfall recorded in the state since 2008-2009. So that shows the adverse case of climatic change. So when snowfall data began to document it a separate base from rainfall. So earlier data was recorded as precipitation and the IMD was actually related to. So basically who will give all these data? IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Okay. So what happened here? See, the fragile Himalayan area has been witnessing inconsistent rainfall and abrupt weather changes over the past decade. So the past decade, in the sense over the past 10 years, this particular place of Shimla has been seeing adverse conditions. So whenever the rainfall is expected, it is not going to come. So in one season there is a huge rainfall and huge snowfall, and the other season it is completely low. That is only the next point says. So it was only on January 14th that Shimla received snowfall this season. So this entire season from November to February, only in January 14th it received snowfall. It was also limited to Jakku Hill, the highest point of the town, while the other areas in the city were deprived of the white cover. So did not even get. So only one place in Shimla only received this particular snowfall. Okay. So next. See, he said that over the years IMD has observed that the climate inconsistency, invariability and abruptness with intense cold or too warm conditions. This has resulted in extreme weather condition events of excess rain or snow at one point in time, or little or no precipitations of snow in another season. So one season will be of huge extremes of complete snow and rainfall, whereas the other extreme would be no rainfall or no precipitation or no snow. So these days we see it's bright sunny in Shimla, while 2 decades ago the winter months would mostly see overcast conditions. So over the 2 decades ago, that means approximately 20 years ago, this was a season of peak time where entire Shimla would be covered with white cover. That means completely snowed area. But now only 1 day, that too restricted to only one particular place has been observed. So that shows the level of impact of climatic change on current Indian climate. Okay. So in regard to that only, there is another article. Fiji is a country. So Fiji hopes to partner with India in a meeting of climate action goals. So it showed interest that we will be interested to work with India. So when we are seeing this, let's go to a map. So basically Fiji is a Oceania country, one of the countries in Oceania. So see here, where is it? This is Australia and that is a small island which is Fiji. So, what happened here? They have shown interest that we would like to work with India on combined climate change actions. So, against climate change we would like to work. So, achieving the sustainable goal of reducing this climatic change, we would like to work with India. That is what Fiji people has told. So, the government of Fiji will seek closer relations with the democracies like India. Deputy Prime Minister Biman Prasad, who is on the 5-day visit to India. So, who told this? Mr. Biman Prasad, who is the Deputy Prime Minister of Fiji, has showcased interest that we are very interested to work with India on the mutual climate change goals. So, he is told that the foreign policy what they have opted. So, what is current changes he has mentioned. Over the past 15 years, Fiji had not prompted any ties with other democracies in the way that it should have been. So, he is telling that so far, indirectly they are mentioning that so far we did not have proper associations or proper foreign policies with India basically. He is portraying that with any other country we do not have that much relation. So, here we are concerned basically. So, here the thing is that with India we do not have proper foreign policies so far, and right now we are recognizing that there are certain gaps between these foreign policies between both the countries, and we are looking forward for the mutual climatic goals. So, we are focused on developing our ties with others like-minded democracies like India and tackle challenges with climate change. And the recent economic survey and budget has showcased that India is ahead towards achieving its climatic achievements, that is climatic targets. India is ahead of the given target. So, by knowing that these countries are showing interest to work together with our country. So, he has highlighted to sit in the first reign to visit of any member of the new government that came to power in December 2022. So, that is not a much issue. So, basically what they say is that they need to work with India. That is all about this particular article. So, those are small countries, no, they will show interest to work with our country. So, again same article since a week. Where is this? Yeah. So, what is this article about? Yeah. So, what is this article about? Again the spy balloon. Now, the president itself reacted. US president, what he has told, US President Joe Biden wants US will act on China after downing surveillance balloon. So, again the same news, China has told that there is a surveillance, whereas US speculates it to be a spy balloon, and which is not new, where China has again flew it like in the past year itself, around December 2022. We have seen certain spy balloons that is being flew on Andaman and Nicobar as well. So, this is not the first time that China is using such kind of surveillance spy balloons. So, they have shot it down basically US, and China is protesting that that is our civilian surveillance which you cannot worry about, and you should not shoot it in that way, you should be dealing in a good way. But what US President now has highlighted is that so far whatever is affecting our sovereignty, we will be in a position to fight against it. So, the directly warning, and the thing is that basically if there is any kind of discussion from a president, so from the position of president, they will be addressing in a good way. I mean, if they are talking about a particular person or addressing another country's president, there is certain kinds of respect. So, here one thing that you need to identify is that Mr. Biden steered clear of hawkish language as he mentioned by name his Chinese counterpart. So, he has mentioned that Mr. Xi, we seek competition, not conflict. So, do not come into conflict with us. We are awaiting a good foreign policy with you, but this is what is not expected from your end. So, we do not want any kind of conflict, but we seek for fair competition in the global arena. That is what Mr. Biden has told, and he has told that it make no mistake, as we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act and to protect our country, and we did that. So, they have again reaffirmed that we haven't gone against any Chinese operation or something. If it is affecting our sovereignty, then definitely we will act against it. That is what he has again showcased. That is about this particular article. Now, So, travelers from G20 can pay via UPIs, says Das. So, Shaktikanta Das, he told that travelers from G20 now can use phone pay for transaction. Not, I mean phone pay in the sense basically UPI. So, the Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday has decided to further expand the scope of unified payment interface, which are UPIs, that can be your phone pays or Google pays, whatever it is. It's used for inbound travelers to India. That means whoever are traveling to India, now they are giving certain kinds of facilities that they can transact through phone pay or through any other website which is of using this particular UPI. So, an enhancement has been recently made to provide UPI access to non-resident Indians who have international mobile numbers linked to their NRE or NRO accounts. This was a news a week ago that the accounts of NRE, NRO, that means who are of the non-resident Indians who are residing somewhere abroad, they can have certain facilities that their mobile number of foreign countries. Suppose if a person is in USA, he is an NRI and he is using certain kinds of mobile number which is supported to that particular country. No, that foreign numbers will also be now recognizable into UPI. So, that facility has been given for whom? NRIs, non-resident Indians, through their NRE or NRO accounts. Basically, there is bank accounts. So, now what they have done, they have expanded its horizon to G20 countries as well. So, he has mentioned that for all the G20 countries who are into the visit to the country, for those people we will be availing this particular UPI facilities as well. Okay, so go cashless. That is what RBI has told. Who? RBI's governor Shaktikanta Das has told. So, it is now proposed to permit inbound travelers to India have access to UPI for their merchant payments (PTM) while they are in the country. So, in our country, as far as if they are in our territory, they can utilize this particular UPI facility. Okay, I hope that's clear. So, government unveils draft dispute settlement scheme. So, for the dispute settlement, the finance ministry have released a contours of a draft voluntary settlement scheme to end festering contractual disputes of government agencies, which it said not only holding back fresh investment but are also reducing the ease of doing business with the government. So, if there is any kind of clashes on any contractual agreements, when some third party or some persons are involved into certain kinds of agreements with these government services also. So, with the government agencies, they can discuss directly through this particular application. That is what this article says. So, called the Vivad Se Vishwas 2. So, as part of budget also Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman has mentioned this. So, Vivad Se Vishwas 2, the one-time settlement scheme contains a draft pact between the litigating parties to bring finality of the dispute and propose to the implementation through functionality of government e-marketplace GM. So, what this article says is that through Vivad Se Vishwas scheme 2, they are going to provide a particular platform so that the disputes can be settled at once. Both the litigation parties will be there, they will be supported and they will be opted for any kinds of dispute resolution, and the litigating parties will be settled down, and the marketplace, e-marketplace, which is government e-marketplace portal, will be the origination or the place of this particular scheme will be there. So, that is what they have told. So, the implementation of this dispute resolution scheme will be under GEM, which is government e-marketplace. That is what this article says. So, I hope that is clear. So, if you, hello Anshuman. So, let us see if there is any other article left. So, yeah, the status and proceeds of disinvestment. So, basically what is disinvestment? Three types of disinvestment are there. First, what is disinvestment? Government properties will be there and basically those properties will be sold out to private entities. So that is basically a rough definition of what is disinvestment. So what does this article says? What does the government aim to achieve with disinvestment? Have targets met in recent years which CPSCs, which is Central Public Sector Enterprises, okay. So or slated for disinvestments have been met the targets. What are the challenges for the process faces? So that you need to understand. So through this budget to 23-24, government has set a target of disinvestment of 51,000 crore. So disinvestment of 51,000 crore is being set a target for this particular fiscal year. Through what? Through budget 23-24. Down nearly 21% from the budget estimate for the current year, just 1,000 crore more than the revised estimates. So that not required. It is also the lowest target in 7 years. So despite being 51,000 crore as a huge amount, it is the lowest amount compared to previous 7 years. Moreover, the center has not met the disinvestment target in 22-23, setting realized 31,000 crore to date, of which 20,000 crore is close to the third of the budget estimate. That means in the previous year they have set a target of 31,000 crore, but what happened? Currently 20,500 crore is close to the third budgeted estimate. So only 21,000 crore has been obtained, okay. So what is disinvestment? That you need to understand. So disinvestment is the context in which government sells its assets or a subsidiary such as central or public sector enterprises. So whatever may be, yes Anshuman, yeah, I will let you know on that. He is still available, I will let you know on that. Fine. So, yeah. So, minority disinvestment, majority disinvestment and complete privatization are the main approaches of disinvestment. So, I told you 3 types of disinvestments will be there: minority, then majority, complete privatization. What is minority? Less than 51% minority disinvestment, more than that majority disinvestment. Complete privatization is completely giving that particular stakes to some private entity. That is your total disinvestment. So I told you which is greater than 51%. All those definitions you can go through this particular article. So going to the gist. So in this one thing that is basically important is, through budget what was the target for your disinvestment, what are the ways of disinvestment, and this particular gist. Oh, I need to tell this also, fine. So, as I already told you, through union budget, the target set was 15,000 crore, down to nearly 21% of the budget estimates for the current year, just 1,000 crore more than the revised estimate. So, basically compared to the previous year, it was around 21% less target for the disinvestment. So, disinvestment in this context is when the government sells the assets, already told. So, 3 main types: minority, majority and complete privatization through disinvestment. Next, center is not going to add new companies to the list of CPSCs to be divested in 23-24, and the aspirational divestments of 2 public sector banks and 1 general insurance firm announced in budget 2 years ago will not be as part of this particular plan. So, basically what happened? Whatever the existing plan is there for disinvestment, that has not been changed, except for the fact that certain insurance firm or 2 public sector banks which has been planned for disinvestments will not be mentioned as part of this particular plan of fiscal year of disinvestment. Okay, fine. So that is about this article, and this is regarding this particular article is important. So your data wise you can add it again into your answer writing. As part of DM, disaster management, people in India at the highest risk of flooding from glacial lakes. So glacial lakes, flooding through glacial lakes is also one of the kind of disaster. For the first time there was a study on what can be the impact on people who are affected by these glacial lakes flooding. So basically what does this article say is that what can be the possibilities of worst affected people through this flooding of glacial lakes. 3 million people of India's number of people are at risk of flooding caused by glacial lakes. The highest number of those exposed. So according to the study by Newcastle University, this is the first global assessment of areas of the people of the greatest risk of glacial lakes outburst floods, which is GLOF. So for that, this is the first study, that is why this particular article is important. Okay. So that's about this article. Let's see if there is anything. Yes. So that's it for today. There is no much articles. More of political articles are being covered actually in this today's paper. So I have covered what are of importance for your particular Hindu paper today. So far, if you have any doubts, please let me know, else we can wind up the session. So far, any doubts? Kritika, do you have any doubts? Who are the people? Kritika, Monica, Sindhu, Manogna, Padmashri. Any doubts so far? Clear, great. Fine. Fine, then that's it today. Thank you for the session. Great. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Thank you for the session. Good day.